Here we go. Well, welcome, and I'm so happy to see you all here today. If you are our first time joiner to the Accelerator call, please just put a number 1 in the chat so we can welcome you. And I'll give you a moment to do that. If this is your first time on an Accelerator call, put a 1 in. Hearts, Steve. Yep. Welcome to Alex, Suzanne, Rosa. Good morning. Lisa O'Boyle. Welcome. Angela. Angela, I know you. Welcome. So glad to see you here today. Jenny Odom, welcome. So glad to see you. And thanks to everyone who's joining us today. Albert, here's another newbie. I just love seeing all these new people who come each time we have a call. And I just want to give you a little bit of history of how we came to be. 10 years ago, if someone would have told me that I'd be on a Zoom call with all these people from around the country, I would have been laughing. I said, no way. I was the head of HR for a national bank, but we were located in New York City. And my whole life was New York City and New York bound. And so everyone I knew was in my bank. I had been there for many, many years. I was head of HR. Until I got the crushing news that my job was being eliminated. We had been acquired, as banks tend to do. They tend to acquire each other. And so when I was given that horrible news, I had a choice to make. I could look for another job, or I could decide to start my own business, which is what I chose to do. And so I have been spending the last 10 years helping job seekers to get jobs of their dreams and really helping people to get into leadership roles and doing everything that I can to help people just be the best they can be in their careers. About 4 years ago, COVID hit, and a lot of people who were out of work decided to start a group. And it was a small but mighty group. We started with 6 people, and I was a designated career coach for that small group. That group has now grown to over 600 strong, and we are called the Accelerator Job Search Group. If you are interested in joining it, we have a private LinkedIn group, and you are more than welcome to join. We have tons of resources on that. I always announce the future calls there first. And so if you'd like to join, Lori has just put the Accelerator group link in the chat, and feel free to join us whenever you are available. One thing that I want to tell you is we have calls or meetings or events like this every month, but we are taking the month of August off because people have told me, you must detox, Mindy, you must detox. So I'm taking August, just a little bit of detox. But I am excited to tell you that in September, we're going to come back strong with my friend Liam Darmody, who is a branding expert, and he's going to help us find our unique voice on LinkedIn. I don't know if you know this, but there are over 1 billion, that's with a B, members of LinkedIn. And so finding your unique voice on LinkedIn can be challenging sometimes. And so Liam is going to here to help us brand ourselves and start thinking in our branding and more of a marketing manner. That's September 10th. And the link is already in your chat. You're welcome to sign up now. That registration link is available and ready to go. You'll get reminders as we get closer, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity to let you know that he will be joining us. One more little housekeeping tip. As Terry is speaking, I will be taking notes. And what I do with those notes is I create a post, which will come out sometime on LinkedIn, either tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how fast I can get this done. And I look to you to give me some nuggets. So Sue Griffey is a great nugget taker, and you'll see she'll be posting in the chat. Here's my next nugget, because Terry's going to give us some really interesting information. And unfortunately, not everyone can join us today. So some people are at the beach, some people are doing whatever, they're not here today. And so we're going to put out that post. And if you hear something that is really meaningful to you, put it in the chat. I'm going to grab it and get you into the post as well. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2, Terry's going to give us a little presentation, but when his presentation is done, we're going to open the floor to questions. So any questions you have about your job search is stalled, you need some help, I want you to please be prepared to talk about that. And the way we're going to find people is by the raise hand little icon. So I'm going to raise my hand right now. Mine is in my more button. Other people have it right on their toolbar, but let's practice that. Let's practice. You don't have to ask a question. Just practice using your hand, raising your hand button. Let's see who can figure that out. There we go. There we go. Okay. We have some smart folks here, seasoned Zoom players with us today. All right. Now, you know, with this hand, we need to lower it ourselves. So we have to manually lower your hand. So I'll ask you to do that now. So we'll reserve that for when you're ready to ask a question. Beautiful. You're doing great. Excellent. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Terry. Terry is an expert career coach. He has been coaching professionals and executives through transitions for many, many years, and he's an author of 3 books. We've all been there. We've all felt like the job search has stalled. I talk to so many people every single day who tell me they've done so much, but they just feel like they're in a little bit of a rut. And so now we're going to get to see what Terry has to say. If we could highlight Terry, and then he can get that's perfect, his PowerPoint, we will get started. And Terry, I'm going to send it over to you so that we can hear your beautiful nuggets.
Thank you, Mindy, and hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Thanks so much for the invitation. As you said before, Mindy, this is a hot topic. I think it's so hot these days for maybe a number of reasons, 2 of which I'll mention. One's external, one's internal. Externally, those of you who are in a job search right now will probably agree we are in a very challenging job market. Companies seem to be very reluctant to hire, and they are sitting on piles of cash, and they are, stretching out the job interview process. It's not unusual to be invited back to round after round after round, and then what happens? The company disappears. They ghost you, and you never hear from anybody as to what happened. So it's a strange situation. I have a lot of clients who've experienced it, and so that's just one perhaps facet of the external issues going on. And then on the internal side of the job seeker themselves, I think there are things there that we can work on, and they're definitely within our control. And that's really the focus of getting unstuck. What to do when your job search bogs down. When I started hearing this from my clients in the last 12 months or so, more and more of them saying, Terry, I'm stuck. My search is stalled, not getting any traction. All I'm hearing is crickets. I started to research the topic, which is kind of the way I develop my presentations. So I went out there and took a look at who's writing about or talking about getting unstuck. And I'm happy to report that a lot of people were talking about this topic. I even found a TED talk on getting unstuck. And so I started to review what people were saying, and I gathered up what I think are the 7 or 8 best of the best suggestions, some of which I've used with my clients, and others I kind of found in my research, and I'm going to offer them to you. And if you're in a job search right now, I hope you'll take all of these ideas with you, all the golden nuggets, whether they come from me or they come from you. But I want to encourage each of you to be on the lookout for that one golden nugget, the one idea that you are going to implement. You're going to do something with it, the one that you think might be most helpful to you. And so be on the lookout for that one idea. From a process standpoint, I like to say to my clients, if you've been doing everything that you can think of, everything that I've mentioned as a coach, you've been trying everything and nothing seems to be working, what do? I recommend these 3 steps. And they basically can be summarized in go back to the drawing board. And so I found that little Google image of a board on an easel to represent the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board. But to break that down, I break it down into stop, take a big step and a deep breath, and then try something new. Let me touch on each one of those briefly. Stop. Stop the action. Freeze the frame, and give yourself the grace of a few minutes, a few hours, maybe a day or a couple of days, to just take a step back from what you've been doing, take some deep breaths, look at the big picture of everything you've been trying and what seems to be working and what seems to not be working so well, and actually put it on the drawing board. If you're a visual person like I am, make a map of your job search so far. We'll talk more about that later. And then see if you can come up with something different. It might be something you've been doing before, but you're going to do a little bit differently. Maybe it's something you've been doing that you're going to stop doing, or maybe it's something you're going to, perhaps take a risk with. You're gonna push yourself out of your comfort zone and do something that you've been very afraid of doing. And the way to come up with these ideas, and again, this is from my own experience as well as the research I did for this topic here today. In fact, I think the person in the TED Talk talks about this, and that is reach out to a few, maybe 1 to 3 of your most trusted connections to seek their input on what they would suggest that you do. Listen carefully to them, right? Take note of all of their input, but then selectively, based on what you think might work for you, select a few of the ideas that you receive, and then starting with one of them, go ahead and implement that idea and see what happens, see what kind of results you get. Because remember the definition of insanity that somebody came up with years ago, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So to get different results, we've got to change something about what we're doing. So with those 3 steps in mind, kind of keep them in the back of your head. That's a little bit more about me. I think Mindy's covered it. And this is just a preview slide. When you get these slides later from Mindy, I'll be sending them to her. You'll notice that this slide is a preview of the slides to come. So in the interest of time, I'm going to go right to the tips. Tip number 1 for what to do when you're stuck is stop and think about what is it that makes you unique, the unique aspects of your value proposition. And what that is, some people are now calling your superpowers. I did some research on this phrase superpowers in the context of job search, and I traced it back to an article that came out in 2019 from the learning and development expert Josh Bersin. His last name is spelled Bersin, for those of you who want to look him up. He's well worth looking up. And in this 2019 article, he talked about the concept of power skills. It then, over the years, got turned into superpowers because many of us, into Marvel superhero movies. But his idea, Josh Bersin's idea, is that we all have power skills. And he defined power skills as the secrets to our success. And we don't always acknowledge them. We don't always capture them. We don't always communicate them as we could. And that might help differentiate us from our competition when we're applying for jobs. So the first suggestion is take advantage of the period of being stuck and feeling like you're stalled to do some soul searching to identify your power skills. All right, what is a power skill? I'm going to give you a 3-element definition, and I want you to take that 3-element definition and write down one of your power skills and put it into the chat. And Lori, if you would keep track of the power skills that appear in the chat and then tell us what you're seeing, that would be great. So here's the 3-element definition from Josh Bersin and others who have been writing about power skills. A power skill is something, number one, you are really good at. Okay, you're really good at it. Number two, you like using this skill. It energizes you and you look forward to opportunities to use this skill. And number three, others have noticed it about you. Okay, very simple. Number one, you're really good at this skill. You really like using this skill, and others have noticed it in you. So take a moment, write down one of your power skills and put it into the chat. And Lori, as soon as you see some power skills appearing, please tell us what you're seeing. I can't see the chat on my end for whatever reason. So depending on you to tell us what you're seeing.
Sure. Engaging, interactive facilitator, great listener, Excel spreadsheets, attention to detail, taking technical language and translating it into easy to understand business requirements, lifelong self-learner, and building consensus. That's what we have so far.
You know, those are great, and keep them coming, folks. I think there's 30 some people here, so it'd be great to get 30 answers. And if you think of another one as people are putting them in there, put in a second one, put in a third one. I did this exercise yesterday with a much smaller group of people who gathered for Getting Unstuck, and we had tons, I swear, tons and tons of power skills. So please don't hold back with just one if a couple of them occur to you. And what Josh Bersin claimed in this article is that most of us actually have a set. We have a set of power skills. We have more than one. There might be one that's kind of our signature skill that really we're most known for, but we really do have other power skills. And I think a big mistake a lot of us make when we're in job search, and I'm a veteran of job search, folks. I was in job search 5 times during my corporate career in HR, so I've been there and I've experienced it. We don't do a good job of selling who we are, of really pitching and conveying what makes us so unique and so special, and why you, the employer, should hire us. And I think this is one of the things to work on for many job seekers who just aren't good at talking about themselves and what makes them so unique. So I would encourage you, if you think that might be what's one of the things that's keeping you stuck, to really work on this area of identifying your power skills. And then once you've identified your set of power skills, put them into your about box on LinkedIn. You know, the about box where you write a paragraph or two about yourself? Make sure they're there. Put them into the introductory paragraph on your resume. You know, that little paragraph at the top of page 1 where you write about yourself? Put some of your power skills there. When you are mentally preparing for the next interview and you know you're going to be asked, hey, Dietmar, tell me about yourself. You know they're going to break the ice with that question. So you want to be ready with an answer that's going to knock their socks off. And what better answer than to tell them about some of your power skills that you think are relevant to this job opening that you're interviewing on. Mindy, anything you would add to this tip number 1 on identify your power skills and then use them to communicate what makes you special?
I love this one. I'm glad you made it number 1, Terry, because it's so important. It's hard to do anything when I'm working with people to fix their LinkedIn profile or their resumes. Identifying what those are is critical. So I think it's identifying it, knowing it, but then being able to speak about it, right? That's like 1A. You've got to be able to talk about what you do well, what value you can bring to your next employer, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And I agree. I made it number 1 because I think it's number 1. And, you know, when you're in that period of feeling stuck, stalled, all you're hearing is crickets, what better time to do something like this? This is a very positive exercise. It's good for shifting your mindset from the negativity we all fall into to more positivity. and it's more proactive because it's helping you get ready to communicate about yourself, which is job number one in a job search, is being able to let people know about who we are and what we can bring to their table. Tip number two, take a breather. You know, for many centuries, we've talked about the importance of breathing, and certain traditions like yoga, Tai Chi, Aikido, even prayer, have always recognized the importance of breathing. But now medical science has arrived on the scene, and medical science says, yes, breathing, it's good for you. Not just the breathing we're all doing right now that's keeping our lungs going and our hearts going and all of that. That's all certainly very, very good. But here we're talking about the deep, slow, intentional breathing that you can put together with a mantra of some positive information to yourself that will help give you the clarity you need at a time like this to go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what have I been doing? What's working? What is not working so well? What can I do differently? And that will enable you to move forward. So why does this deep breathing work? It works because you slow your system down. It helps reduce stress. And what are you feeling during a period of stuckness? Stress, anxiety, right? All of those things rise up because nothing's happening, and it just drives us out of our minds. So it's important to manage stress, to slow things down. By filling our lungs with more oxygen, we actually open up the brain to think better. We're able to think better. We're able to problem solve better. We're able to imagine solutions to the situation that we're in. So tip number two, folks, step back, take a breather, take several deep breaths, and do that in conjunction with going to the drawing board. So this is tip number three. I probably should have called it go to the drawing board, but I decided to go with map your options because I'm a visual person. Maybe some of you are visual people as well. Whenever I create my PowerPoints, as you all can see, I use pictures, I use color, I try to keep text to a minimum. I'm really all about trying to see what I'm thinking so that I can then, get beyond, my current thinking to solutions, to options, etc. Here's what I'm going to recommend to all of you in terms of mapping your options. This will be very appealing to the visual people in the crowd, maybe not so appealing to others, but I have a second step. First step is literally draw a picture of where you feel you are at the moment. I like to say, put yourself in the middle of the picture. So you're right in the center. Then put your goal somewhere. It could be above you or to your left or to your right, whatever orientation works best for you. So put that goal there. I describe that goal specifically. What is that job? What is that company? What is the role? What is the level? Get specific about that goal. Really describe it. Then on your visual map out the things that are helping you get there, all the resources. You've got Mindy's group as a resource, Mindy herself, other members of the group here. Those are resources. You've got a whole bunch of other resources. Map out your resources on the map. Map out your obstacles. What are the things that you feel are getting in your way? And then I like to draw arrows and bubbles and circle things. Connect up resources to obstacles so that you can identify what resources are going to help you with what obstacles. So anyway, I should probably do a presentation just on that. But that's step one, is visualize where you are at right now. Step two in mapping your options, and this may be appealing to some, maybe less so to others. Embrace AI. There are so many new AI tools out there right now, from ChatGPT to Claude.ai. In yesterday's group, people were putting into the chat all these new ones I had never heard of. So they're proliferating, these AI tools. Put find your favorite one. Currently, my favorite is Claude.ai, CLAUDE.ai. I like that one a lot. Some colleagues of mine recommended it to me, and I've tried it, and I do like it. Put into Claude your resume and one or several job descriptions you're looking at that you've applied to or that you're thinking of applying to. Feed it that information and then give it the prompt to analyze your resume and these opportunities and give you a list of career options to consider. I tried this exercise recently with a client, and I was amazed and he was amazed at the options that it gave for the two of us to talk about and begin exploring in a coaching session. So use AI to further map your options. And once you've used the tool to give you options to think about, you can then research options of most interest, because it might give you an option you hadn't thought about before. And so you can ask a follow-up prompt to then give you more information about that option. If you folks have not started to embrace AI, I strongly encourage you to use this time. Remember, the first step when you're stuck is stop. Give yourself the grace of a period of time to do some thinking. This is a great time to start. Let me pause here again and bring you in, Mindy. Your thoughts on this using AI to help map options?
100%. We're all just getting used to it. AI is brand new. It's what, a year and a half old or something. And so a lot of people are hesitant to use it, but I definitely embrace it. You can use it for cover letters. You can use it for job postings. You can use it for just so many things. But I love this concept of mapping options. It reminds me of the SWOT. Remember the SWOT, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So it's like your own personal SWOT. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are your threats?
Yeah, that's a great methodology that you could put right on your visual map. If those of you that are really eating up this visual idea, I know there are probably some of you out there. Put that right on the map itself. And then once you've created this visual, you can actually put that up on the wall in your home office, wherever you have your computer. And that then becomes a way for you each and every day to kind of look at where you're at and begin to see the interconnections between things, particularly your resources and your obstacles, that'll help you break through and get to your goal. Tip number 4 is at some point or another, we all have to make a decision about our comfort zone. If we stay in it, which is what we want to do, because by definition, a comfort zone is comfy. We like it. It's safe. It's secure. It's familiar. But at some point, we may have to leave the nest. And so getting out of that comfort zone can be a big challenge. I remember many years ago, in one of my earliest job searches, I was having an awful time picking up the phone and calling people and asking them for their time to do an informational interview. I had this block inside of me. I couldn't pick up the phone. I had all this negative self-talk going on of they don't want to hear from you. They don't want to be bothered by you. They don't want to help you. Why should anybody want to help you? Have you heard those thoughts in your head? And a coach of mine gave my noggin a few good whacks and talked me into, just think of the safest person you could call, and call that person. And I did. And I didn't die. They didn't die. The world didn't end. It worked. And then I gradually ratcheted it up until I finally was able to leave my safety zone. And I took small risks that led to very big rewards for me, because once I learned how to pick up the phone and call somebody and ask them for their time and for their help, it really was a tremendous quantum leap for me in the job search at that time. So tip number 4 is if you're feeling hesitant to do a particular thing that's part of the job search, like networking. That's like the biggest thing people are afraid of. You need to figure out a way, either on your own or with the help of others, to push yourself out of that nest and try it. Take a small risk, because that small risk could eventually lead to a very big reward. Let me pause there, because I know that for some of you that may be this may be a heavy one, and I'd be curious if anybody wants to put into chat, and Lori will keep an eye on that and share if anybody does. Is there anything about the job search right now that you're feeling reluctant to do because it feels like a risk? I'll leave that question hanging there for a moment, see if anything comes in. Lori is watching the chat. Lori, is anybody sharing a specific thing they're feeling is a little bit too risky to do right now?
It looks like they're still thinking about it.
Maybe give us an example of what you consider risky.
Yeah, I mean, it's highly individualized. What might feel risky to one person is nothing to the next person. In the group yesterday, a few people wrote down networking, that they're very reluctant to network. They're reluctant to go up to somebody at a networking event, whether virtual or in person, and strike up a conversation with them. Why is that? There could be many reasons for that. Perhaps the person is by nature an introverted person, and that's a big ask for them. Or maybe they've got some of that negative self-talk going on that I shared with you that I suffered from many years ago, where I was saying things to myself like, who wants to talk to me? Who would be interested in me? I don't think anybody would want to hear about my troubles. You never know what might be going on inside that's keeping the individual from networking. And we all hear about networking all the time, and we know how important networking is to a job search. To Lori, anything show up?
Yeah, now a few examples came in. Someone said, not reluctant to do anything, but for the first time, I feel the age card being used. Another
Interesting.
person said networking. Julie said applying for other temporary jobs as well as permanent ones when you accept a temporary job. Mike says go stands. Oh, I don't know if this is one of the things. Go stands in a corner in an IT area of my town and hands out resumes. I think it was just kidding. I said adjusting my resume, tailoring it to each job is mentally exhausting.
Yeah. Well,
Terry, I'm gonna throw one out there that I hear all the time. And
yeah,
that
Mindy, please jump in.
the reluctance to fully participate in LinkedIn and comments is still very, very strong. And I still hear that from a lot of my clients who are, well, I don't really have anything to say, and I'm embarrassed. I don't want people to know I'm on LinkedIn. There's so many excuses that you can put out there. But the truth of the matter is, if you start small and you just start commenting in a safe environment, comment on one of my posts. There's nothing ever too risky about my posts that I put out there. And just comment, you start getting more comfortable and start building the confidence. Start very small, 2 or 3 words, then build it to 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 words. And just start getting comfortable with the medium, because there are so many opportunities on LinkedIn. It is literally a powerhouse of networking opportunities. But if you always stay quiet, no one knows that you're there, and you need to be visible so people look at you as a credible resource for them, someone they might want to hire in the future.
Excellent example, and I totally agree with what you're suggesting. Everybody here on this Zoom call today, here's a challenge assignment for you. Later today or tomorrow, whenever Mindy is able to publish her Golden Nuggets email that she promised, or post on the LinkedIn that she promised she would do, when you see that, leave a brief comment. It could be as simple as, thanks for these Golden Nuggets, Mindy. Right, Mindy? I mean, it could be as simple as that. as a starter. And then once you do that and you realize, hey, I'm still alive, I didn't die, the world didn't end, you could do a little bit more the next time out, or maybe add a nugget. Let me add one more, add one more nugget.
Exactly. Love that. I love that.
So tip number 5, I've already alluded to it earlier, is so important to shift your mindset. A positive outlook can make all the difference. Most days that I have here on planet Earth, I say to one person or another, have a good day. Have a good day. We job seekers need to say that to ourselves. Have a good day. It's so important to have a good day and actually take those words, have a good day, and implement them. And I'm going to give you 3 ways to implement have a good day right now. And I hope you're writing some of this stuff down. These suggestions or these methods come from the University of Pennsylvania School of Positive Psychology that has been researching happiness, positivity, optimism, and related topics for a long, long time now, and have published their findings in a number of best-selling books. And so this is research-based material coming your way here, folks, not new age folderol. So you can deliberately shift your mindset into a positive outlook by using these kinds of techniques. We talked about the power search technique earlier, so think of that as one in this family of techniques for positive thinking. Another one is what's going well. The what's going well exercise is recommended as a daily exercise. You can do it any time of day. I tend to do this one at the end of the day, and I do it as what went well today.
Terry is frozen.
Woke up, I was alive. I saw my wife and I got a kiss in the morning. So just start the list with a few things that went well. And once you prime the pump on the what went well list, it will start to grow. It might not be as long as the what did not go so well list. That list is always very long. The recruiter didn't call me back. I didn't hear from the hiring manager. I got a rejection notice. I mean, that's always going to be a long list. But force yourself to put something into the what went well list. Mindy, did you want to comment on that?
I do, and I want to be mindful of the time because I want to give some folks time to ask questions, Terry. I will add to that to get to positivity. Think about gratitude. What are you grateful for? Not just what went well, that's a good one, but also what are you grateful for? Because I will tell you that no matter where you are in your life, you're better than most of the people in this world. So think about what you're grateful for, and that will help you to get to positivity. Terry, if we can get through, how many tips you have?
I'll go right through the remaining tips. Here we go.
Because I want to stop at 10:02 to help them, give them some time for questions, okay?
Yeah, celebrate small wins is actually the next of the positive tips. And seek feedback from others. It's something I mentioned at the beginning in step 3 of the little processes. Stop, take a breather, get input. Get input from 1 or 2 or 3 people who are trusted contacts of yours on what they would suggest that you do differently. And with that, I'm going to say, Mindy, I'm going to stop sharing and let's talk.
All right. This is great. We're already seeing such great feedback in the chat, Terry. I don't know if you can see that, but if you go to the top of the Zoom meeting and you hit the chat, if you go to the chat and you go to the very top, there are 3 little buttons, and you are able to save the chat. For anyone who's on their computers, you can just save this chat so you can see it. And Terry, if you can do that, you'll see the whole chat. Otherwise, I'll get it over to you, after the call.
Fantastic.
But there are a lot of great information in the chat. Okay, so this is your opportunity. We have about 8 minutes. Anyone who would like to ask Terry a question, or me, I'm happy to answer questions as well. Raise your hand, please. It's going to be either in the more button. There's a little raise hand button. Gregory found it and Sandy found
Gregory, Sandy.
it. Or right on the bottom. So we're going to start with Greg and then Sandy and then David in that order. Go ahead, Greg.
Sure. My stuck point is having a temporary position, how to best strategize around when a full-time position becomes open within the company. How do you, not let down your current team? How do you make a successful transition? How do you talk through that if you'd like to get that permanent role, which I do?
Yeah, that one comes up a lot, Gregory. Good question. I recommend to my clients who are considering that option of going with, let's say, a part-time or a contract role,
Yep.
in the initial conversations with the hiring authority, actually share that with them. Let them know, I'm looking for my next full-time opportunity, but in the meantime, I'm also considering part-time contract work, consulting gigs, and so I'm going to be continuing to look for those roles as I go to work for you. And I think making it a open and above board topic of conversation can be a really good way to get the two of you and the person you're working for on the level type of communication with each other.
Thanks.
I'm going to add something for you, Greg. I'm going to share a little secret with everyone who's on the call today. I actually started in a temporary role at a temporary agency. They hired me just to do interviewing for the temps who were coming in. And I ended up becoming the head of training and development, learning and development for the entire company. And how did I morph from temp to running a division for that particular company? And obviously it wasn't overnight, but what I did was I was constantly looking for new assignments, looking for new things that I could add value to in my role. I was never satisfied with just doing the role they hired me for. I always was looking for other opportunities. And so I suggest if you're in a company that you enjoy, Greg, and a role that is suitable for you, look for ways to add value in your area, in another area. How can you help and how can you be seen as a leader in that group? And then the opportunities will fly to you. I just encourage you to, be the best you can be for that temporary position. It worked for me. I encourage anyone who's looking for work to go to temporary agencies. There's tons of opportunities out there, and you never know who you're gonna meet, what skills you're gonna learn, what opportunities you're gonna find that will help you, bolster you for your next opportunity. So great question. Thanks so much, Greg. And let me know if I can help more with that, because that's right in my wheelhouse. It was a long time ago, but I still remember it very fondly.
Will do. Thanks.
Thanks. Sandy, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Spencer. I'm based in Connecticut. I have been in HR for more years than I want to share. And I'm 63. Everyone tells me I look a lot younger. I've been in a lot of different industries. And this is the first time I'm seeing ageism. I have been in transition 3 times during like COVID and all those, a lot of different reasons, been through a lot of M&As. But this is the first time I think I'm seeing ageism. And I think my LinkedIn profile is up to date. I've cut my resume down to not show some of my jobs. I don't have my dates on my college diplomas like some people do. And I'm also not sure what I want to do, but I'm curious what people think about the age card.
I'll start off. It's ageism is real. It's out there. You haven't run into it yet. You probably will as you get older. So it's a fact of life. You can't make it go away. My second thought, and I'll pass it to Mindy, is I would say lead with your strengths. So if you're still thinking about what those power skills are, I would encourage you to do that soul searching, get that together, capture it, write it up, and then lead with those strengths. The strengths that you've acquired over your HR career and over the many years that you've been in the workforce are of tremendous value. And the employers that see that are the ones that you want to work for.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And one other comment I'd like to make is I think one of my strengths, besides the ones I put in the chat, I build trust very easily. And I really love customer service, combining it with employee engagement. And I think it's going to be my strength if I look at HR consulting. But my other strength is I love to network. So I will put my LinkedIn in the chat, but I'm also reaching out to a bunch of you. I don't know if you're going to share LinkedIn along with the tips, but I think that would be great for anyone who wants to know who's on here that maybe yet didn't have a chance to put their LinkedIn profile. But I've also shortened mine, so it's really easy. You can change it on LinkedIn. I think mine says something along the lines, Sandy Spencer, CT, SPHR, SHRM, CP. So it's, instead of having that long thing, it's easier to remember and put on your resume. Thanks again. This is an awesome seminar. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sandy. And I will
Great.
reiterate to anyone who's on this call right now, please, if you want to connect with other people, put the link to your LinkedIn profile right into the chat so people will have it and they can connect with you. Absolutely. And another way to make those connections is to start the conversation. When you see my post, I will tag some of you. Come into the conversation. Don't be shy. The water's fine. Come in, say hello. Everyone's going to say, oh, I saw you yesterday. And another great way is to show your face on these Zoom calls. When you're going to a Zoom call, show your face, have a conversation, reach out, talk to people so people get to know who you are. You're not just a name, you are a person, you are a human being. So let people get to know you. Absolutely. Sandy, great question and great thank you for giving those comments. All right, David, we have about 4 minutes left. What would you like to ask?
Okay, I'll try to be quick. My question regards how much time should I give to sending out applications? I've heard from some 20 plus per week, which would be 4 per day. I've heard from others like Claude AI 10 to 15, and I've heard from others that it's not that important. I should network more. I've been putting out between 0 and 6 weekly, and none last week. What are your thoughts?
I'm definitely in the school of thought that says networking is job one. So spend most of your time networking, less of your time applying to jobs. But you have to apply to jobs. You need to be in the systems, so to speak, of companies of interest to you. My answer to how often, how much to apply is be selective, be strategic. Identify your target companies, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 25 companies on that target list, and go after those companies. Certainly apply to any openings that are relevant to you, where you are at least a 70 to 75% match to the requirements of the opening. But don't sit around waiting for the phone to ring. Network your way into your target companies by finding people that work there, and then figure out, who do I know who knows those people? And then using the people that you know, network your way to the people you don't know yet. Networking your way into a company is work. I know it's work, but it's the reason why people say job search is a job. It really is. It really is a job. And job one in job search is networking. So I'd encourage you, David, network your way into those target companies.
Okay, thank you. Good answer.
You bet.
Tara, you nailed it. I'm not going to add to that because I want to get to one more. I think we have time for one more question. Alex,
Okay.
Can you give your question in under a minute? Alex Davidson, you're up.
I think Alex might have stepped away.
Okay. All right. Mr.
I'm
Rose.
here. I'm here.
Oh, wait.
Sorry.
Okay,
Here he is.
Alex.
Here he is.
This is a comment to Gregory about letting his team down as a contract employee. I've been a contract employee for 6 years, about 10 different assignments. The understanding going in is they can cut you when they want to, so you need to manage your career for your benefit. So don't obviously you want to satisfy your client, but you need to put your career first. So if you see a position, you go for it, and that's understood. That's the social contract between you and the client.
Thanks.
Out the gate. And yes, ageism is very much a thing. Middle managers are, a lot of them are in their 30s, so anybody 40 plus is a little bit intimidating to them, never mind in the 60s. I'm 61 myself. I try and tone it down and try not to, definitely don't reveal my age until it's time to sign a form, but it's definitely a thing.
100%. Thank you,
Well
Alex.
said, Alex.
Comments. Thank you very much. Terry, you have time for one more?
Sure, let's go ahead. Let's do it.
All right. I don't know what your first name is, so I'm going to say K Rose.
Hi,
What's your first name?
Karen. Sorry about that. Can you hear me
Karen.
okay? Okay,
Sure.
Hey,
Hi,
Karen.
great. Really quick question. How do you handle, I'm also an older sort of person. How do you handle taking lower level positions, but trying to find out if there's opportunity for growth? So I'm looking at a couple positions that are lower in salary than my last job, lower level, but I like the company and I'm trying to find out if there's opportunity for growth.
Well, taking that lower level job is a choice that a lot of people I know are facing today. White collar professionals are experiencing a tremendous recession right now. A lot of my clients are in that category, and their job searches are stretching out to eternity. And so they are now forced to look at, okay, maybe I need to look at the next level down. So it's a choice. You'll need to consider all the factors that go into that choice in making it. But I want to echo something Mindy mentioned before when she was talking about taking part-time roles. Once you get into that organization that you really like, then make yourself indispensable. Make yourself the go-to person. Bring all of your power skills with you. And then opportunity will open up to you inside of that organization.
Okay. So there's no way to really ask, I guess that's what I'm wondering is if there, because it's going to sound like I don't want the role and I'm going to jump out of the role if I say, what are the growth opportunities? I don't want them to think that I'm not comfortable taking the role that they're offering me.
I think it's fair to ask about growth opportunities inside of a company as part of an interview conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Terrence. I think we are at time.
Yes.
I would love to thank Terry for this great session, really so chock full of information.
My pleasure.
And I think that we can do a part 2, if you're up for it, at some time in the future. Terry, would you like to come back to speak to the Accelerator?
I would love to come back. And I don't want to see any of you who are here today. I want to hear from you on LinkedIn. I've landed, Terry. I landed here. I landed there. I'm doing this.
You'll see us again.
Well, that does happen, David. That does happen. If I do see you again, it'll be a pleasure. But yes, Mindy, I would love to come back. So I will await your invitation.
Absolutely. Terry, you're going to be on my calendar for 2025. We're booked through 2025, but I'm going to get you on in 25. If that's okay with you.
Great. I would love it.
Love having everyone enjoy your summer months. Remember what Terry said. What a great opportunity to take that step back, right? And maybe reevaluate some of the things you're doing. It's time to breathe. And even if you're breathing on the beach, it's okay. It's a good thing to do. Look for your superpowers, be able to communicate them well, take that step back and really think about what and who can help you get to the next level. I thank you so much for being here. It's my honor to be here with you. And I hope to see you again in September when we're going to welcome Liam Darmoudi to help us find our unique voice on LinkedIn. Take care, everyone.
Stay cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.